I am Sam Bascom, and I live at Lost Valley Intentional Community, and our decision-making process is Sociocracy, which is actually very new for us. We used to use the consensus process for the first 20 years or so.
I went up to a permaculture gathering in Washington State, and there was a social permaculture track. That's how to put permaculture principles into social relationships. And there was one on sociocracy. And I got lit up with saying, this is the answer. I'd heard of sociocracy before, but I said, this is the way to solve the issue, or at least address, it gives me hope to take a path that would address the issue of how, on the one hand, we've dysfunctioned by being a flat consensus-based hierarchy, and on the other hand, we dysfunctioned by being a top-down hierarchy with some people telling others what to do. Neither approach worked. And sociocracy seemed to be playing with that tension somewhere in the middle. And I thought, aha, let's try that.
This is an organizational thing, a social mechanism that can be very useful. And in my mind, the efficiency and effectiveness of something is how the sociocracy connects to sustainability.
We are not the experts on sociocracy, we're advanced beginners, and we're learning as we go by studying the internet and then creating our own interpretation of what we read there, and trying things and altering things based on what's real here.
I facilitated a meeting last night using the Sociocracy, and I had these sitting in front of me because I needed to refer to them to make sure I had the next steps properly aligned and everything.
So one of the principles is transparency, and that refers to open books. It refers to open communication. We don't hold secrets from each other. And so, for example, where that would be useful is if there's some economic problem and anybody anywhere in the system wants to put their creative imagination to it, they have access to the information they need. And then through a process they can get that information up to the board of directors. So one of them is transparency, the other is consent. We make decisions by consent. It's slightly different than consensus. There's a twist.
The main difference between sociocracy and consensus is the terms reasonable and paramount objection.
Basically the question is, can you live with it? And the question is phrased very carefully. You ask, are there any reasoned or paramount objections? Like
somebody ideally should really dig deep and think it through before they object to a proposal. And it seems like with consensus there was sort of an unspoken realm that if somebody was disgruntled about something, they could block it.
And I think that's more efficient, that we can move forward with a good idea that there's energy for, or juice for in the community, and then check in again a week later and say, okay, well, how is that going? And then we can change course a little bit.
And then the third one, or equal value. We're all equal valued human beings. And we have differential roles.
If you can think of it as egalitarianism without complete equality, in the sense that we value each person equally, and yet certain people have different sort of weight in terms of what they say and can do and enact.
Another element of sociocracy that's kind of different is in elections, instead of asking for a volunteer to do a certain position or actively nominating someone, everyone is considered nominated. And each person actively writes down who they vote for. And then we go around the circle, hear from each person, hear the rationale behind their reasoning. And then people have a chance to change their reason. And then the facilitator proposes a person, or maybe more than one, depending on the situation, for that position. And then once the group decides, yes, we want that's the person we want to elect for this position, then only at the end, the last step is to actually ask that person if they're willing to do it.
And that person is given power. Unlike some consensus-based organizations where somebody's commissioned to go do something, but they have to check back at every moment to make sure that they're on track. Once you're given the power for a certain amount of time, it looks like a hierarchical organization. You just do it.
So you can have circles of specialization that make focused decisions because they have those areas of expertise, they have that experience.
My idea is to network the whole bioregion and have everybody have a common language. So my idea is to take this refinement of sociocracy, which I think is even better, and network, because we're going to need to have quick ways of dealing with crises, most likely in X number of years, who knows, or months, or whatever. And maybe we won't call it sociocracy by then. Maybe we'll have been borrowing from other governance systems.
So, that's sociocracy.
Ready? Did I talk in the camera or did I talk to you?